What does Batman and the Bat family do when they're not stopping criminals or the end of the world is happening? That concept is being explored in the Batman Webtoons series, Wayne Family Adventures. And we've been covering it here at Comicstorian for a little while now. But it's time to bring Season 1 to its conclusion as we bring you chapters 44 to 51 today. This is the Comicstorian channel. I take your favorite comic books, I break them down into an audio synopsis, and then we read it back to you. This allows you to know what you should be checking out in the world of comic books. And today it's a webtoon actually, which you can get for free by clicking the link down below. So this one you have no excuse of checking out yourself unless you really just don't like webtoons. Anyway, let's get into chapters 44 to 51. Jason laughs himself to sleep working on his bike, stating that they're going to be better than new when he's finished. Across the cave, Tim and Stephanie are finishing up their sparring match when Tim steps out and almost trips on a wrench that was lying around. He yells at Jason, telling him that he needs to stop leaving his stuff everywhere. Jason tells him he's sorry, he's been working on the Batmobile. Guess next time I'll leave it broken. Tim storms off and Jason sighs, telling Stephanie that she might as well bring it over here since Tim is clearly a danger to himself and others. Stephanie asks what's the magic word and Jason says, "Spoilers the best?" She laughs, telling him that she would have accepted please, but that works too. Stephanie grabs the wrench and it makes a scraping sound on the floor, which immediately sets off the alarms in Jason's mind, as it's the exact same sound as when the Joker dragged the crowbar to him. Stephanie holds up the wrench, but all Jason can see is the crowbar. He decides he has to get out. Now. There's no time. As he gets back up into the manor, everything swirls around him about that night. He doesn't want to go back there, to his own death. Don't make him remember that night. It's all too much. As Jason backs himself into a corner, he hears a voice calling out to him. Bruce tells him, "Please, look up, Jason." Jason realizes who it is and he sighs. "I can't." Bruce kneels down at his level, telling him, "It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay, Jason." Moments pass and Bruce asks if he knows where he is, but all Jason can do is think of the Joker there, standing over him with the crowbar. Bruce tells him he's in the manor, that he's safe. "Touch the carpet, touch your clothes, ground yourself." Jason forces himself to listen to Bruce's words, and he's right. There's a soft carpet under his feet. There wasn't any carpet there. He's wearing a cotton shirt. It isn't his old uniform. He isn't Robin. After a bit of grounding himself, Jason takes a deep breath and says that he is in the manor. And Bruce says, "That's right. You're safe. You're home. Tim is going to get you a weighted blanket if you want it. We're going to get through this." Once Jason is able to stand up, though, he takes himself to the dining room, where Alfred begins to bring him cookies and tea. He tells him that if there's anything he wants from the kitchen, all he has to do is say it. Jason takes a sip of his tea, and he tells him that he appreciates it. Alfred tells him to remember, there's no timetable for healing. Do what you need to do. Of course, Jason has the whole family help him with this ordeal, just like how Stephanie always has cat videos to help take her mind off of things. A few days go by and Bruce sits with Jason to check in on him, but to also tell him that he's proud of him. "Why?" Jason asks, and Bruce tells him, because he used to think ignoring the pain would make it go away, that if he closed himself off to everything and everyone, nothing could ever hurt him. It was wrong to think that, and you showed me that. I've messed up a lot of things between us, but I wouldn't trade a single second of time with you." Bruce gives his son a kiss on the head, and Jason says that he wouldn't trade their time either. As Bruce heads inside, Jason takes another deep breath, telling himself that dealing with everything that happens sucks, it hurts. But now, when the bad memories come, he's learning to handle them better. He's strong enough to heal. He learned that this isn't a burden that he has to carry alone. And even when things seem hopeless, he's going to be okay. The next story is World's Finest. It was a bright day in the Kent farm as Alfred knocks on the door to the Kents. Jonathan welcomes Alfred in and he says that he's parked the bat plane behind the barn. Hopefully that is all right. Jonathan laughs, telling him it's fine. Martha is waiting for him in the kitchen. After a bit of cooking, everyone sits down at the table, and Jonathan says that it's been too long since they've had one of these kinds of dinners. How are things back at Gotham? Alfred says that it's been the same. He's proud of Bruce and what he does, but it doesn't make him worry less. Sometimes he wished that Bruce had a little bit of Clark's invulnerability. Martha laughs, telling him that, trust her, just because Clark is invulnerable doesn't mean that they don't worry. Plus, it was pretty alarming when Clark's power started to come in. The first time that she saw him lift a car over his head, now that was a shock. Alfred laughs. No more alarming than when Bruce returned home declaring that he wanted to dress up as a bat, I'm sure. But as Alfred and the Kents go on, Jonathan says that it's probably a good thing that they didn't invite the boys tonight. Clark is always embarrassed when they talk. Alfred asks what makes him think that he's not listening in right now. And Martha yells, because Clark is a good boy and he would never eavesdrop on his parents and their dear friend like that, now would he? Meanwhile, over in the Batcave, Superman yells out, "Oh no, she's onto us, Bruce." Bruce scoffs, "You should have let me plant listening devices." "We've talked about this, not in my parents' home." Bruce stares and Superman yells, "Bruce!" Fine, no listening devices." The next story is Shovel Talk. As Duke gets ready for his morning workout, he opens the door to the manor when he runs into Cassandra and a young man. He quickly apologizes for bumping into them, but the young man tells him that it's all right. Duke then says that he didn't know that she had someone over. She tells him to go run. He leaves, looking over his shoulder to see the two hugging, and shrugs his shoulder, stating good for her. Later, as he runs into Tim, he asks how it's going, and Tim says that he's meeting Cassandra. She found a big lead on a case from the other night. Duke thinks to himself that she must be done with her date already, and Tim is stunned. What? She has a boyfriend? Duke yells, "I don't know if it's a boyfriend, I just saw her with a guy this morning." And so, of course, for the others, this becomes a topic of discussion on whether this young man was or was not, in fact, Cassandra's boyfriend. Damian asks if they're sure in the intel, and Tim says that Duke saw it with his own eyes. All the while, Duke is panicking. "Cassandra's going to kill me!" Jason then says that this is Cass they're talking about. They need to make sure that his intentions are good. Tim agrees. All right, we know he's coming by today. Stephanie can meet him at the door and lure him in while Duke distracts Cassandra long enough so that we can get answers. "Guys, please don't make me do this," Duke begs, but Stephanie grabs him by the arm. "You heard the man!" Duke sighs as he knocks on Cassandra's door, and after a few moments of silence, he turns back. "Oh well, guess she isn't there." But that's when she opens it up, asking what is it. Duke tells her nothing at all, and she points out that he's sweating and shaking. Duke laughs, "What? No." After a few more minutes of glaring, he yells, "I'm so sorry, I accidentally mentioned your boyfriend to Tim, and him and the others are interrogating your boyfriend while I have you distracted. I never meant for this to get so out of hand, really, don't be mad." Cassandra waits for him to finish. "Not my boyfriend, just a friend." Duke asks, "Wait, what?" And after a few moments of awkward silence, he runs back to the study. "Wait, he isn't her boyfriend, they're just friends!" But inside of the study, everyone is staring, while Cassandra's friend sits there smiling. Tim gets up, pushing the young man out of the way, stating, "Well, it was nice meeting you. Can't wait to see you again. Cass is upstairs. Bye now." As Tim and Duke slam the door shut, Stephanie bursts in laughing. "That went even better than I hoped for. Their faces are priceless." Jason realizes what's going on. "Wait, you knew?" She laughs. "We live in chaos." "Yeah, that tracks." Tim then says that if they leave now, they can probably make it halfway around the world before Cass hunts them down. And Duke cries, "I'm never going to tell Cass's secrets again." The next story is one more, part 1 and 2. The time ticks as it gets closer to 10:30 at night, and Barbara radios to Batman telling him that she has a visual on Two-Face. He's heading downtown. Batman tells her that he's on his way, keeping track. But that's when Jason radios in stating that he's still waiting for the intel on Croc. He needs to make the move now. Babs says that she's pulling up tracking data on Croc, and it looks like, he's in the sewers again, heading south. Spoiler then connects, asking can she pull the lab analysis in the homicide case she's got. She's got a hunch that needs to be confirmed. Babs says that she's on it, give her a second. These nights are fairly normal in Gotham, and even more normal for someone like Barbara, who is constantly asked for things throughout the night. But even as she powers down her station at 3:15, she's never really off the clock, even when the GCPD needs a hand. Now it's almost 7 a.m., and things are finally quieting down, at least so she thought. As Barbara grabs her phone, there's another alert, which she can at least send a tip in while she's getting ready for the morning. With no matter how many alerts she answers, there's always one more waiting for her, and when the stakes are that high, how can she stop? She can do one more, just one more. The next night, Barbara is back at it, guiding the family to each of their crime scenes, and as she tells Tim to take a left, she realizes that he needed to take a right, and she screams, correcting herself. Tim is confused. What is it, right or left? And she looks up again, telling him right. And Tim tells her he's got it. Barbara rubs her eyes, stating that she needs to get it together. Everyone is counting on her. Oh wait, I still need to get Bruce that report. While she gets to typing away, Nightwing tells her, hey, but Barbara tells him not now, she's working. Come back later. Nightwing asks when was the last time she logged off. And after a few moments of thinking, she pushes herself back, telling him it's been a couple of days. Maybe. So Nightwing asks, what does she need? She sighs, stating she just needs 10 minutes and maybe some tea. At that moment, there's another alert, but this time Barbara says the police can handle it and turns away. Later in her apartment, Nightwing makes her that tea and she tells him thank you. She didn't mean to worry him. Hey, it's all right. We've all been there, Babs. She laughs, telling him that she must have told Cass and Steph the same thing in training 1,000 times. You won't help anyone by wearing yourself down to nothing. And Nightwing chuckles. Yeah, it's hard advice to follow. So Barbara looks at her tea, telling him that it's hard sometimes to take a break. If someone gets hurt, that's on her. So Nightwing grabs a blanket, wrapping up Barbara. I know the feeling, we all do, but it's not true. We need to remember to take care of ourselves every now and then. You've done so much. It's okay for you to let it go for a while. Is there anything you need before I go? She tells him that she'll be fine. She just needs to crash for a bit. See you around, Boy Wonder. As he leaves, she smiles to herself, knowing that maybe she can take a little break, even if it's just only for a few moments. And our final story of season 1 is Night In. The night is cool as two crooks begin to break into a warehouse. One says that he isn't sure about this, and the one lockpicking tells him to relax. The bat signal isn't lit tonight. He's not here. They'll be fine. Then a voice says, about that, you should have listened to your friend. Superman stops the crooks, tying them up, dusting his hands off, telling them that it was easy enough. Covering for Batman has been a cinch so far. Still, it's surprising that Batman would take a night off. He never takes a break. Just then, a looming shadow with pointy ears grows over Superman. Ha! I knew you couldn't make it the whole night. However, as he looks back, he just stares. It's Harley Quinn wearing a very unconvincing Batman costume. Hey, what are you doing in my city? No super people in Gotham. Batman sighs, rubbing his eyes. Hey, Supes, got you good, didn't I? What are you doing? I was gonna ask you the same thing. This isn't your turf. Don't you know Gotham Knights are allergic to truth and justice? But if it isn't obvious, I'm covering for Batsy, duh. No, I'm covering for Batman tonight. Why would Batman ask you? I'm his best friend. After calming the twitch in his eye, Superman grabs his phone. I'm calling Batman. And Harley grabs her phone. No, I'm calling Batman. Over at the manor, Alfred answers the calls, telling them both that Batman is unavailable right now, and surely they can figure this out on their own. They are adults. Good night to the both of you. As Alfred hangs up, Bruce pokes in, asking if he needs to suit up. I can just... But Alfred tells him absolutely not. Now go finish your movie. The family is waiting. Bruce sighs. This was a good idea. I just hope that things are all right out there. I can assure you that they are. But while the Bat family settles in for movie night, back out on the streets, Superman and Harley continue to glare at one another. And after a few moments, Superman says, fine, we'll both patrol. All right, fine. Before leaving, Superman says, Batman's my best friend. In your dreams, Space Boy. And this brings us to the conclusion of the Batman Webtoons Season 1 series. Now, I don't know if we're going to cover Season 2, but I do want to go back and finish up what we were doing with the Red Hood and the Outlaws webtoon, which is more action-oriented and more what you kind of come to expect from the Bat family and the Batman stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Click the link down below to go to the playlist and check out the rest of these. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I'll just see you next time right here.